Best leaders per element. Today, we're going to list all the best leaders per element. We're also going to touch on units that can serve as leaders in a general-purpose team. In World Flipper, firepower is very important and most leaders only give attack power boosts to their specific element. Although some leaders boost attack power regardless of element, most of them are element locked. We're also going to take about leader units that are key to certain mechanics like levitate, multi-ball, fever, and power flip. Fire leaders. 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐒 is a 5-star fire unit. Her leader ability increases fire units' skill damage by 125%. That's a huge boost to skill damage to a team with fire units for mains. Her skill deals fire damage in front of her and lower fire resistance by 25% for 30 seconds. It also removes a buff from the enemy. Her first ability increases skill damage by 15% and fills the skill gauge by 80%. Her second ability increases skill damage by 40% when her skill activates. The bonus damage increases up to a maximum of 120%. Her last ability only applies when she is the main unit. It increases the skill gauge by 15% for every 5 enemies defeated. Hanabi is a 4-star fire unit. Her leader talent increases fire units' attack by 30% and fills their skill gauge by 100% at the start of the battle. Her skill throws bombs that deal fire damage to enemies hit and around them. Her first ability increases her attack by 30% every 30 combos. Her second ability heals fire units' HP by 3% every 20 ball flips. The maximum times this effect procs is 5 times. Her third ability only activates when she is the main unit. It grants a multi-hit buff of 40% for 10 seconds when her skill activates. Hanabi is the only character that enables all fire units to use their skills at the start of the battle. She's mainly used as a leader in multi-ball compositions. Kikuno is a 5-star fire unit. She's not in the current unit pool yet, but her banner is not that far away. Like Hanabi, she's mostly used in multi-ball compositions. Her leader talent increases fire units' attack by 30%, multi-ball attack by 40%, and HP by 10%. Her skill summons a red demon and a blue demon. The red one has double strike and penetration while the blue one has levitate and regeneration. The demons stick around for 30 seconds. They also deal fire damage to enemies hit. Her first ability increases multi-ball's direct attack damage by 60%. Her second ability fills the fever gauge by 25 and further increases multi-ball direct attack damage by 3% when multi-ball appears. The maximum bonus is 30%. Her third ability only activates when she is the main unit. It increases fire units' attack by 35% and multi-ball attack by 60% while 2 or more multi-balls are present. Kikuno is a must-have if you are serious about building a multi-ball party. Her leader talent synergizes well with her skills and abilities. Wagner is a 5-star fire unit. He can increase fire units' attack and power flip damage by 40% when he is the leader unit. His skill does fire damage in front of him with a hefty modifier of 27x. His first ability increases flip damage by 30%. His second ability increases his attack by 10% every 5 power flips. The maximum amount is 60%. His last ability only activates when he is the main unit. It decreases the combo count needed for power flip level 3 by 5 and increases power flip damage by 40%. Wagner's power flip leader bonus is not limited to fire units. He might be a bit underwhelming now, but he'll get a power-up in the future if Global follows JP's update. Glide is a 4-star fire unit. His leader talent increases power flip damage by 100%. His skill does fire damage in front of him and grants himself a 100% attack buff for 15 seconds. His first ability increases power flip damage by 15%. His second ability further increases power flip damage when he has an attack buff. It has synergy with his skill, so he can just activate this passive himself. His third ability only activates when he is the main unit. It decreases the number of combos needed for power flip level 3 by 3 and increases power flip damage by 40%. 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐒's leader talent isn't only limited to fire units. He can serve as a leader to non-fire power flip teams as well. Water leaders. Alice is a 4-star water unit. Her leader skill increases water units' attack power by 140% while they have 80% or more HP. It is quite a powerful attack power increase as long as you can fulfill the condition. Her skill deals water damage in front of her. It also grants the levitate or float buff to the party. Levitate makes units not fall or decelerate. It also makes them immune to gravity fields, wind, and tornado enemy effects from battle. Her first ability grants herself a 50% attack buff if she has levitate. Her second ability further buffs her attack by 55% when her HP is above 80%. Her last ability only activates when she is the main unit. It grants another attack buff of 15% every time she recovers HP. The maximum bonus is 90%. Alice hits hard when all the conditions are met. She can boost her attack power up to a total of 335%. We think she is one of the top water leaders in the game. 𝐶𝐈𝐍𝐒 is a 5-star water unit. She's not in the beginner banner yet. Her leader skill increases water units' attack by 100% while her HP is at 80% or above. When a water unit's HP goes below 80% for the time, she heals the unit for 20% for one time only. The attack buff is slightly lower than Alice's attack buff, but 𝐶𝐈𝐍𝐒 has a heal attached to her leader skill. Her skill deals water damage to the entire field but doesn't hit weak points. It also inflicts water resistance down debuff of 20% and slow debuff for 20 seconds. Slow halves the speed of any action performed by the boss. It also doubles the duration of weak and break. Her first ability increases the damage of the party if the enemy has the slow debuff by 10%. Her second ability increases water units' attack by 40% if her own HP is at 80% or above. Her last ability only activates when she is the main unit. It increases water units' attack by 60% and fire resistance by 30% when their HP is at 80% or above. Sonya is a 5-star water unit. Her leader talent increases water units' attack by 30% and 12% more every 30 combos. The maximum bonus is 60%. Her skill deals water damage that scales of the number of buffs she has. It increases damage by 10% per buff. She also grants a 75% attack buff to the party for 20 seconds. Her first skill increases her attack by 10% every 30 combos. The maximum is 60%. Her second skill increases her attack buff duration by 30%. Her last skill only activates when she is the main unit. It makes her attack twice with a 50% damage boost. Sonya's attack buff takes time to reach its full potential, but it is more sustainable than Alice's leader buff. Cyrene is a 5-star water unit. She's not yet available in global and she is a wee bit far away. Her leader talent increases water units' attack by 40% and direct attack damage by 60%. Her skill fires multiple missiles to the nearest enemy and does water damage to its surroundings. It also grants an attack buff of 100% for 15 seconds to herself. Her first ability increases her attack by 20% and the party's attack buff duration by 15%. Her second ability increases the party's attack and direct attack damage by 20% while she has an attack buff. Her third ability only activates when she is the main unit. It increases water units' direct attack damage by 60% while her own HP is at 50% or above. It also increases her direct attack damage by 120% while she is 80% HP or above. Thunder leaders. Rams is a 4-star thunder unit. Her leader skill increases thunder units' skill damage by 100%. Her skill does thunder damage to the nearest enemy and its surrounding area. It also does more damage when the enemy is paralyzed. Paralysis causes the boss to be unable to move or attack. Her first ability increases her skill damage by 50%. Her second ability further increases her skill damage by 30% every time the unit activates a skill. The maximum bonus is 120%. Her third ability only activates when she is the main unit. It increases the party's skill damage by 30% every time she uses her skill. The maximum bonus is 120%. Rams increases the party's power without any conditions, and she's a powerhouse herself as well. Metis is a 5-star Thunder unit. She isn't in the beginner banner yet. She shares a banner with 𝐃𝐄𝐒. Her leader talent increases Thunder units' attack power by 40%. It further increases Thunder units' attack during Fever by 75%. Her skill deals thunder damage to enemies around her. The damage is amplified by 25% when the enemy is paralyzed. Her first ability increases her attack by 20%. It is boosted further by 40% when in Fever mode. Her second ability further increases her attack by 20% and fills her skill gauge by 30% when entering Fever mode. Her third ability only activates when she is the main unit. It increases her attack by 50% after using a skill. The maximum is 100%. It also fills the Fever gauge by 500 for one time only. She's mostly used as a leader in Fever comps. 𝐾𝐄𝐈𝐍𝐿 is a 5-star lightning unit. Her leader talent increases Thunder units' HP by 10%, attack by 20%, and skill damage by 60%. Her skill deals lightning damage to all enemies and heals the party for 10%. It is more effective on lightning units. It heals for 50%. Her first ability increases the healing received by the party by 5% every time her skill activates. The maximum is 25%. Her second ability increases her skill damage by 20% every time she is healed. The maximum is 100%. Her last ability only activates when she is the main unit. It fills her skill gauge by 40% and heals her HP by 20% every time she is revived. 𝐾𝐿𝐈𝐍𝐿 is mainly used as a leader in skill damage heavy compositions. 𝐼𝐼𝐍𝐿 is a 5-star Thunder unit. Her leader talent increases Thunder units' attack power by 40% and increases Fever mode duration by 30%. Her skill deals thunder damage to the entire field but doesn't hit weak points. It also inflicts paralysis on all enemies for 10 seconds. Her first ability increases Thunder units' attack by 15%. Her second ability increases the Fever gauge by 25 every time a Thunder unit activates a skill. Her last ability only activates when she is the main unit. It increases her attack by 200% during Fever. 𝐼𝐼𝐍𝐿 provides a stable attack power buff without any conditions. She's mainly used in Fever gauge compositions. Regis is a 4-star Thunder unit. His leader talent increases Thunder units' attack by 30% and boosts their skill damage by 150% during Fever. His skill does thunder damage to the closest target. His first ability fills his skill gauge by 50% the first time he activates his skill. His second ability increases his skill damage by 30%. During Fever, the increase is 70%. His last ability only activates when he is the main unit. It further increases his skill damage by 30% and fills his skill gauge by 50% when Fever is activated. Regis' leader ability is quite powerful, but it only activates during Fever mode. At least he can still boost attack power by 30% without any conditions. Wind leaders. Philia is a 5-star wind unit. Philia's leader talent increases wind units' ATK by 115% if their HP is above 60%. Her skill applies the levitate buff to the party for 12 seconds. It also recovers wind units' HP by 50%, making her leader skill easy to maintain. Her first ability increases wind units' HP by 10%. She further boosts the party attack by 30% when they have levitate and restores HP one time by 30% when they go below 60% when she is the main unit. 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐒 is one of the best if not the best wind leader in the game. Her leader talent is not that hard to proc since her skills and abilities synergize with it. 𝐶𝐄𝐒 is another 4-star wind unit. She specializes in abilities that deal more damage the higher the combos are. Her leader talent grants wind units plus 40% attack. It further increases their attack by 60% when the combo count is at 10 or above. Her skill deals damage in front and back of her. The damage scales with the number of combos. Her first ability increases her attack by 30%. Her second ability increases her attack by 80% when the combo count is at 10 or above. Her third ability only activates when she is the main unit. It allows her to direct attack twice with a 20% damage buff. 𝐶𝐄𝐒 performs well on combo-oriented teams. Penetration and levitate buffs make it easy to earn combos. 𝐶𝐈𝐍𝐒 is a 4-star wind unit. His leader talent increases wind units' skill damage by 80% and fills their skill gauge by 30% at the start of the battle. His skill does wind damage in all directions with a 25x modifier. His first ability buffs his attack by 25% for 60 seconds at the start of the battle. His second ability increases his damage to enemies during breakdown. His third ability fills his skill gauge by 70% when the battle begins. It also buffs his attack by 20% when his skill activates. The maximum attack bonus is 80%. 𝐶𝐈𝐍𝐒 is mainly used as a leader in wind burst skill damage teams. Leon is a 5-star wind unit. His leader talent increases wind units' attack by 40% and power flip damage by 40%. His skill stirs up a tornado, inflicting wind damage on foes in front. The modifier is quite high at 32.4x. It also increases the attack of the party by 60% for 15 seconds. His first ability makes him receive damage instead of the third main unit. It also buffs his thunder resistance by 50% and his HP by 15%. His second ability increases flip damage by 10% every 30 combos. The maximum is 60%. His third ability only activates when he is the main unit. It increases his attack by 20% every time he receives damage 3 times. Leon's leader talent only gives a modest 40% attack power increase to all wind units, but it doesn't have any conditions. Aurora is a 4-star wind unit. His leader talent increases wind units' attack by 60% when they have the levitate buff. It also increases their HP by 15%. His skill does wind damage to enemies hit with his spear. It also grants the levitate buff to all allies for 15 seconds. His first ability increases his own HP by 15%. His second ability increases wind units' attack by 15% when the party has the levitate buff. It also grants him 15% more thunder resistance. When he is the main unit, he receives damage in place of the third main unit. He also gains 70% thunder resistance. Aurora can proc his leader talent with his skill. It also provides some survivability in case your team needs to fight a long battle. Light leaders. 𝐹TIME is a 5-star light unit. Her leader talent increases light units' attack by 40% and fever mode duration by 30%. Her skill summons a shower of meteorites that deal light damage to enemies hit. It also fills the fever gauge by 60. Her first ability increases fever mode duration by 20%. Her second ability increases her damage when the boss is broken or down by 25%. Her third ability only activates when she is the main unit. It increases light units' attack by 60% during fever. It also fills the fever gauge by 25 when she recovers her own HP. 𝐹TIME is essential in light fever composition thanks to her leader talent, skill, and abilities. 𝐂𝐿𝐴 is a 5-star light unit. She gains a lot of attack power when her HP is 80% or above. She even gets more attack power when she is healed. Her leader skill increases like units' attack power by 115% while they have 60% or more HP. Her skill deals light damage to enemies in the direction of travel and grants a penetration buff to the party for a short time. Her first ability increases her attack power by 75% when her HP is 80% or above. Her second ability increases her attack power by 10% every time she recovers HP. The maximum bonus is 60%. Her last ability only activates when she is the main unit. It increases the attack power of like units by 80% when 𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿 has 80% or more HP. 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐿𝐒 is a 5-star like unit. She's not in the unit pool right now, but the banner isn't that far away. Her leader talent increases like unit's attack by 30% and fills the fever gauge by 50 every time a like unit's skill activates. Her skill heals like units for 50% and fills the fever gauge by 42. Her first ability increases like unit's attack by 15%. Her second ability fills the fever gauge by 30 when she recovers HP. Her third ability only activates when she is the main unit. It fills the fever gauge by 50 when a like unit's skill activates. 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐿𝐒 makes it super easy to go into fever mode when she is the leader. You can even speed up her skill activation using units like 𝐿𝐒. DIA is a 4-star like unit as well. Her leader talent increases like unit's attack by 20% and 100% during fever. Her skill grants the party an attack buff of 75% for 20 seconds and fills the fever gauge by 45. Her first ability increases the fever gauge's duration by 15%. Her second ability increases the party's attack by 35% during fever mode. Her third ability only activates when she is the main unit. It grants like units a regeneration buff of 180 for 5 seconds when entering fever mode. DIA's leader buff is powerful, but it only activates during fever mode, so she needs some support. 𝐿𝐿𝐒 is a 5-star like unit. He specializes in protecting your other units from damage, thus increasing their survivability. He also provides some damage and buffs, which adds to his overall effectiveness in light teams. His leader skill increases like units' attack power by 40% and adds more power every time they recover HP. The maximum bonus is 40%. In addition, he also increases dark resistance up to a maximum of 15% every time a light character recovers HP. His skill increases debuff resistance for all units by 100%, provides an attack buff of 50%, and an all-element resistance buff of 20% for 15 seconds. It also provides a regeneration buff of 100 for 10 seconds. It is quite a loaded skill, and this is one of the reasons he is such a great unit. His first ability increases other units' attack by 60% if they are equal to or above 80% HP. His second ability buffs party members' attack by 30% for 10 seconds every time 𝐿𝐿𝐒 receives damage 10 times. His last ability is only active when he is the main unit. It increases his HP by 30% and makes him take damage in place of the other units. It also increases his dark resistance by 80%. 𝐿𝐿𝐒 strikes a great balance of offense and defense. Dark leaders. 𝐿𝐿𝐍𝐿𝐒 is a 5-star dark unit. Her leader talent increases dark units' attack power by 140% when they have 50% or less HP. Her skill opens up a portal to the nearest enemy and deals dark damage to enemies in that direction. She damages herself for 20% of her HP. Her first ability increases her attack by 30%. Her second ability increases attack by 30% when a unit's HP is at 50% or below. Her third ability increases her skill damage by 250% when her HP is at 50% or below. This ability is what makes her such a strong unit. It's easy to proc 𝐿𝐿𝐍𝐿𝐒's leader buff with units like 𝐹 and 𝐿𝐼. She's hands down the best dark leader, but isn't recommended for beginners. 𝐵yron is a 5-star dark unit. His leader talent increases dark units' attack power by 65%. It's not as high as 𝐷𝐿𝐍𝐑𝐈𝐻, but the effect is unconditional. His skill deals dark damage to enemies for 10 seconds. It also grants an attack buff of 100% for 12.6 seconds. Lastly, it applies a penetration buff to all units for the same amount of time. Penetration buff allows units to pass through enemies instead of bouncing off them. His first ability buffs attack by 30%. His second ability increases the attack of all units by 60% when they have the penetration buff. His third ability only activates when he is the main unit. It increases his attack by 30% and makes him do more damage to beast, spirit, dragon, and undead type enemies by 25%. 𝐴𝐓 is a 4-star dark unit. She a drop in a boss battle and you can exchange for her in the shop. Her leader talent increases dark units' attack power by 110% while they have 50% or less HP. This is similar to 𝐷𝐿𝐍𝐑𝐈𝐻's talent except that it has a lower percentage of attack power increase. Her skill summons cursed shadows for 60 seconds. They deal dark damage to enemies. She self-damages for 15% HP. Her first ability increases her attack power by 35% while self-damaging for 20% of max HP. Her second ability increases her attack by 50% while her HP is at 50% or below. Her third ability only activates when she is the main unit. It increases her attack power by 80% and multi-ball attack power by 60% while she has 50% or less HP. 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐍 is a 5-star dark unit. She's not yet in the global unit pool. Her banner comes right after the New Year's banner, so it's a bit far away. Her leader talent increases dark units' attack and skill damage by 40%. Her skill faces the nearest enemy and deals dark damage to enemies surrounding her. Her first ability increases her attack and skill damage by 20%. Her second ability grants a multi-hit of 2x with a 20% damage buff while the party has the penetration buff. Her third ability increases a dark unit's attack by 35% while their HP is at 40% and above. It also increases that unit's skill damage by 50% while their HP is at 60% or below. Her leader talent has a modest boost, but the effect is stable since there is no condition. 𝐾𝐄𝐒 is a 4-star dark unit. Her leader talent increases dark unit's attack by 30%. It also increases a dark unit's attack by 5% every time that dark unit activates a skill, maximum 50%. Her skill deals dark damage to nearby enemies. Her first ability increases her attack by 25%. Her second ability increases dark unit's attack by 7% every time she activates her skill. The maximum is 35%. Her third ability only activates when she is the main unit. It fills the skill gauge of dark units by 50% at the start of the battle. It also increases her skill damage by 8% every time a dark unit's skill activates. The maximum is 120%. It takes a while to build up the attack up to 80%, but it is higher than 𝐷𝐿𝐍𝐼𝐻's leader buff. General Purpose Leaders. 𝐿𝐾 is a 4-star fire unit. His leader talent increases the party's attack by 8% for every element, except the first one, among the party members. The maximum bonus is 48%. His skill does fire damage around him and grants the party an attack buff of 50% for 15 seconds. His first ability further increases the party's attack by 10%. His second ability fills the skills gauge by 100% at the start of battle. His third ability activates only when he is the main unit. It buffs his attack by 30% when his skill activates. The maximum is 120%. 𝐿𝐾's leader buff is very flexible and he can serve as a leader on mixed element teams. 𝐼𝐍𝐿𝐼 is a 4-star wind unit. Her leader skill increases the party's attack power by 6% for every 20 combos. This bonus caps at 60%. Her skill restores HP to the entire party and is also effective against spirit enemies. It deals wind damage. Her abilities increase the HP recovered by the party and heal 1% HP every 30 combos up to 15 times. She can also increase her attack power by 100% for 15 combos when is the main unit. 𝐒𝐈𝐍𝐒 is better than 𝐒𝐈𝐍𝐒 for longer battles since her leader buff caps at 60% instead of 𝐒𝐈𝐍𝐒's 48%. 𝐒𝐈𝐍𝑒 is another 4-star wind unit. Her leader skill increases gained mana by 5%, her attack power by 15%, and her HP by 10%. It is quite a loaded leader skill, but the values are modest. Her skill has her throwing knives in 3 directions for 3 consecutive attacks. Her first ability further increases her HP and mana gained by 15% and 5% respectively. Her second ability grants party members an attack buff of 15% for 12 seconds for every 30 combos. Her last ability only applies when she is the main unit. In this case, she is so it will increase wind units' attack by 6% every 10 direct attacks. The maximum is 60%. 𝐒𝐈𝐍𝑒 is the only unit in the game that boosts mana earned. If you are strapped for mana, place 𝐒𝐈𝐍𝑒 as your leader and earn some. That's it for our best leaders list. If you found this guide useful, consider subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to like and share as well. It helps us out and motivates us to make more videos for World Flipper. Let us know down in the comments if we missed anyone on our list. Have fun and we'll see you again next time.